Boy Production.
I'm not a rapper. Don't label me nothing less than the greatest. Don't compare me to them niggas that's faking. Nigga, I'll say it, I'm not a rapper. Don't label me anything, still I'm everything. The future, the present, the past. You asking, I'll tell you I'm not a rapper. Look at me, I know you feel it. You seen it, for I believed it. Could dream of the gifts I'm giving. I'm not a rapper. I said what I said and I mean what I say. Worst thing you can do is tell me I can't.
No one man should have all that.
Yeah, you watch me grab the world by the ankles and take whatever comes out, and don't tell me I can't. I get what I take, and I truly doubt that any nigga could stop me. That gun that you flying can't stop the future. It don't matter to shoot a nigga, I can't lose. This pen in the pad is my gift for the gab, and it's bulletproof. Niggas hula hoop and beat around the bush. I chop the tree down just so I can see better. And saw you looking, trying to find out how I do the things I do. They say, is he really right? You know, he capping like we do. And I know I just went platinum and I should be celebrating. But this nigga is a threat, so I'ma watch his every move. Alright, cool, but I'm not a rapper. Don't label me nothing less than the greatest. Don't compare me to nobody that's fake. And listen, I'll say it, I'm not a rapper. Don't label me anything. Still, I'm everything. The future, the present, the past. You asking, I'll tell you, I'm not a rapper. Look at me. I know you feel it, you seen it, for I believe it. Cause dreaming the gifts I'm giving, I'm not a rapper. I said what I said and I mean what I say. Worst thing you could do is get in my way, and I mean that. Anything I put my mind to, rhyme to, put my dirty hands on. Fuck platinum, shit is legendary. Anything I put my name on, co-sign, on God, I have my grandkids, kids rich when I'm dead and buried. Anytime you niggas ever doubt me, please say it proudly. I'm the type of nigga jump off the boat, I make it without it. I don't need no label, I don't need no niggas name behind me. Damn about what you think, I know who I am, you ain't shit without me. Look at me and know that I'm everything that you dream about and ever will dream about. You knew that just 3 years ago, back when I dropped the process and popped it off. And so nobody paid attention, nobody seen this little nigga vision. Till I seen it with my eyes closed and painted the picture. I'm not a rapper, nigga. So don't call me out my name. Look, I'm not a rapper. Don't label me nothing less than the greatest. Don't compare me to you niggas that's faking. Nigga, I'll say it, I'm not a rapper. Don't label me anything. Still, I'm everything. Future, present, past. You asking, I'll tell you, I'm not a rapper. Look at me. I know you feel it. You seen it, for I believe it. Cause dream of the gifts I'm giving. I'm not a rapper. I said what I said. First thing you could do is hand me the paint. I mean that.
Imaginary bass, laughing in my adversary's face. Heartbreak test your capillary strength. Praying that my dad is near the gates. Imaginary bass, laughing in my adversary's face. Thankful that the gas is near the brakes. Only feel safe in my imaginary place. Royalty, Lord, why you spoil me? I've been inconsistent in my loyalty. I've been so resistant to authority. I've been on a mission like a Dorothy. Black Oz made a tin man in the scrapyard, but he lacks heart. Made a scarecrow, no brain, he ain't that smart. I'll intimidate a brave lion till he yaks off. All green in my backyard, yellow bricks and a black dog. Western witch that I splashed on. Bang pump till it clicks, I'll be at farm. I ain't know this acid was that strong. Ugly duck to a black swan. Stop denial, a mass one. Damn, can't buy the verse Capcom in a mosque with a mask on. Yeah, imaginary bass, laughing in my adversary's face. Heartbreak test your capillary strength. Praying that my dad is near the gates. Imaginary base, laughing in my adversary's face. Thankful that the gas is near the brakes. Only feel safe in my imaginary place. I wrote the music that I wish I heard. I smoke the Buddha that I wish I served. I only tune in when I get the urge, which is usually when I hit the herb, which as soon as this spliff is burned. Get the twisting words like I hit the sherm. Say the same shit using different terms. Same toilet with the different turds. Wisdom earned when you live and learn. Just some shit I heard from a little bird. See me getting bigger than I did at first. Think it's easy to get on like a nigga's nerves. Never did I swerve, never kick the curb. Rather kick the head as it picked the curb. History of X, I think I feel the curse. Hands all in my pockets trying to get the purse. Vision hurts, look at what we did to earth. Sick doctor being treated by a sicker nurse. Holy water for the sinner's thirst. Drop acid, then I sit in church. Imaginary base, laughing in my adversary's face. Heartbreak test your capillary strength. Praying that my dad is near the gates. Imaginary base, laughing in my adversary's face. Thankful that the gas is near the brakes. Only feel safe in my imaginary place. Pando.
Islam, yeah. Universal greetings, people. I'm back. Just want to come in for a quick happy Gregorian calendar 2020 year. Gregorian calendar 2020 year. Right? You got to remember to mention that this is the Gregorian calendar 2020 year. Okay? Right, the conscious American Moors, we are, right? So I just wanted to come in and just say a couple of things, like cognizant dissonance. The culture of cognizant dissonance is over, right? It's ending. It's the end of it in 2020 vision. So you can't play stupid anymore. That's the end of playing stupid, right? And I know that there's a movement to set us back in consciousness that's been happening for ever since the Moorish movement have become more prevalent in the community. There's been a lot of people who are offended by the wisdom, by the knowledge that they're trying to defend their old belief system. They're trying to defend their old ideas and premises and false narratives because the whole paradigm is shifting now. Right? The whole paradigm is shifting. And what we thought it was, it's not. Right? Because of our growth of consciousness. Because of this growth in consciousness, they can no longer contain us. They can no longer pull the wool over our eyes, fool us, right? The spell is being broken constantly, every day. We're breaking the spell that they hold on the masses of people. We're breaking the spell, right? The program. We're breaking the program. The program has really literally been broken, but like I said, they're attempting to come back and reestablish the lies that they've told us for thousands of years. right? They rehashing because they know people are waking up. They know it, right? And now those who we were confident in, and this is what I charge the general community with worshiping leadership and what's called personality worship, instead of following up on the information and knowledge. And I've noticed that brother, the Dr. Inky, who is an excellent brother in nutrition and understanding the Moorish or the so-called black anatomy and biological structure, he's on a campaign now exposing a lot of what we thought was going on in the so-called conscious community, and exposing that the invention of the conscious community was an orchestrated thing meant to derail us from getting to a higher consciousness. They called it the conscious community so that they can discourage consciousness, right? And everything that we had established, and because the conscious community started before there was an internet, okay? There was videos circulating in the 90s that sparked this consciousness that we're realizing today, even though it even goes further back than that to our ancestors' consciousness, the conscious community of the ancient times. And we in the 90s was a continuation of that, because all we was doing is digging up information and reconstructing the history based on it being whitewashed. And as a result, we were able to grow in our circumference of thinking. And this is what's happening now. Because every time that happens, every time there's the emerging of consciousness in society, there is a concerted effort to extinguish the fire. Why? Because this level of consciousness that we're entering into cannot allow for control, that the people who are in control, who some people call the power that be, which is one more idea that's being dismantled, because they are not the power that be. The power is within every human being on this planet. And this is what they don't want you to realize. The power is within you. That's if you want it. A lot of people don't want to be empowered to be responsible and accountable and governing over their own affairs. They don't want the answer. So we will fool ourselves, right, with this, oh, everything will get better over time, cop out, docile attitude, passive attitude, lack of sense of duty, lack of understanding of legacy, of what our ancestors were doing and what in comparison to what we're doing today, right? So I just wanted to come in and build a little bit. I know we're going into the Gregorian calendar New Year, right? So I just wanted to come in and continue this investigation that will continue on into the 2020s and beyond, because it's like, what else could we be doing but solidifying, securing, right, our interest as the people, right? So this research continues while some people think they got the answer already, or they've already figured it all out, right? Well, I say, don't no one person or one group have the answer. And guess what? But we all have the answers collectively, which is going to be a hard task because we refuse to work cohesively with each other, right? We're even if we imagine, like, put it like this: what was the results of the Million Man March besides commercial commerce? And like I said, that commercial commerce that happened that day did not directly benefit the so-called Black community, right? It indirectly influenced because I guess the people who created the event were so-called Black people. So indirectly, but we have to get to a point where we're not fooling ourselves. We're not playing with real change and what it takes for real change, and getting out of the mindset that hasn't allowed for us to manifest what we want, right? Manifest what we want. Okay? I'm gonna read a couple of things just to back up. First of all, I want to go here. Let's go here and look this up. Okay, 17 minutes in, have no listeners, but I'm used to it. But let's do it. Let's do this. Okay. Bear with me, y'all. Okay, I'm looking for a specific article, but I may not find it because they tend to put those things up and they take them down. If they get a certain amount of views on them, they take them down. Because when they're speaking, a lot of time, I mean the scientific community, they're not speaking to us, the who they refer to as the layman's or the neophyte. They're not speaking to us, right? And a lot of times when they are speaking, they're not speaking to us is because we're not qualifying ourselves to be able to engage in a conversation at this level of understanding, at a scientific level of understanding. And this is what's another thing that's happening in the community where people are using this concept of scientific literacy and they're creating a new religion out of that because they're creating a new cult because this whole idea of scientific literacy from a group of people who have done little to no experiments on their own. They're just quoting the scientists who have done the experiments, but they have the nerve to say that everybody else is pseudo, right? Which is a new counterculture word that they're using. the new counterculture word. Or cancel culture word to cancel out anyone who is questioning what has been the accepted norms, right? Anybody who's canceled who questions these what have been accepted, right? So, okay, I got this article somewhere. Hold up, here it is. I know exactly where it's at too. Bear with me, y'all. Let's go here. Go here. Okay. I know. I got it. I got it. Okay. It's here somewhere. Gotta find it. Bam. There it is. Okay. Chunks of Africa found beneath northeast U.S. Now let's go in. Let's go in. And these are maps that are measuring the electric magnetic field, right? So these maps are not literally based on geometry, is based on electric magnetic activities on the planet. So it says this is a aeroelectric magnetic electric. No, let me read that again. This is an aeromagnetic map of the east margin of North America, showing amongst other things Brookwood magnetic anomaly, BMA, and East Coast magnetic anomaly, ECMA, courtesy of the Geographical Society of America. Now, this right here are the Geological Society of America. Y'all got to go study these societies, because these are the ones who are controlling the narrative of what is being discussed as science and what is not. You got to go study these groups. See, this is what people want to go ahead and just take what these groups say for face value, but they all have a political agenda to present science as they see fit to control the narrative. Okay. Okay. Geoscience has identified a chunk of Africa stuck onto the southeast U.S., a large mysterious zone of unusual magnetism that stretches from Alabama through Georgia and offshore to the North Carolina's coast, appears to be the suture between ancient rocks that formed when parts of Africa and North America were pressed together 250 million years ago, right? 250 million years ago. Now, okay, 250 million years ago, in the Europeans' idea of 250 million years ago, it's not the indigenous, autochthonous people of the planet's perspective of this, right? 250 billion years, right? Because we measure time in cycles, first of all. But like I said in the beginning of this broadcast, I said we are in 2020, the Gregorian calendar year. If I'm not mistaken, in the Moorish calendar year, we are still in 1439, and our New Year's It's not until like June or July or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but if I'm not mistaken, it's around June or July. But we still are in 1492, right? I mean 1439. My bad. We are in 1439, Moore's calendar year, right? So 250 years, million years ago, right? Mind you, when we're dealing with these long periods of time that they're trying to calculate and use geological evidence, they're trying to use fossil evidence to give them a clear view of what was going on around this time, this so-called time. You have to take into consideration the energetic conditions and the spiritual, which affects the spiritual conditions that were going on. Meaning, what is reality? Now, we have to realize that what we're calling reality, right, is not physical, right? Or it's the physical reality, or what we call physical reality, is just less than 10% of what actual reality is, right? So, and the processions that we have, are these movements that we have, are these vibrational cycles, where vibration is at its highest level and vibrations are at its lowest level, right? This kind of dictates not only the physical reality, but this is the evidence or expressions of the spiritual reality, right? So if you're not considering, like, I know most people are saying, oh, you're speaking religious right now, right? When you say spiritual reality, right? But no, I'm speaking when spirit, to be short, is the breath, right? And spirituality is the science of the breath, right? When we understand the breath, we're dealing with vibrational energetic expressions, is how I can say it, or conceptions, right? These vibrational energetic expressions literally are controlled through the breath, right? So you can literally control the vibrational or vibratory energy of your body, right, through the breath. This is how monks, this is how any spiritual leader, anyone who's really truly in the path of spirituality, right? They understand that the breath is the key to heightening your vibratory, which this is what we're literally dealing with when we're dealing with spirituality, when we're dealing with what we call the soul, right? We're literally dealing with these conditions, these expressions, right? And we have to take this into consideration when we're looking at certain parts of the cycle. Because we measure time in cycle, meaning we're measuring time based on where are we at in this constant movement, this constant vibratory exchange, this constant energetic exchange, this constant vibratory expression. Where are we at in that status, in that particular condition at that moment, right? This is why we study the movement of the bodies of the earthly bodies or the heavenly bodies. My bad. We study the which is astrology, right? Because all this is based in this vibratory or energetic conditioning or expression that's happening at this particular moments in time. So these things have to be considered when you're dealing with any portion of time that you're dealing with, right? Okay, let me give you another good example. Okay, when dinosaurs so-called existed, now we keep our minds open with all these things. I don't not believe that dinosaurs didn't exist, and I'm not convinced that they did exist either. So I'm straddling the fence with a lot of things until it becomes clear to me, right? So around that period of time, right, let's just entertain that it obviously there was a particular energetic and vibrational energy that was associated with that time and period. There's an energetic and vibratory status and state that was present at that time to allow these creatures to exist. And we were basically within the energetic field, or what they call the morphic field of that genetic vibratory status or state, right? And now this particular vibratory state that we're in right now, that's allowing us to wake up and see things that we hadn't seen before, right? And be and snap out of the spell that had been placed upon us by the priesthood, right? Because really everything is either a priesthood or a cult. All these institutions, from United States of America to the science, all these scientific societies, they're either a religion or a cult, right? That have an interest in controlling people, controlling the history, controlling everything. That's their main objective, is to control. Not money. It's not because they print money, right? It's to control, right? They want to be able to, in this rising of consciousness, right, control and govern how people rise into consciousness. They can't stop it. They can't stop it, but they want to be able to control the narrative of this thing. This is why it's a concerted effort. Now I'm gonna continue to read this. Now I just want you to get a context of when the European says 250 million years ago, and what that literally means in our perspective as indigenous, autochthonous people on the planet. Right? It's two different perspectives what we're looking at, right? If so, Africa can have left at least more behind in the Americas, behind in the America Southeast, when the conjoined continents rift apart and form the Atlantic Ocean. There are some large faults in the magnetic data, say geologist Robert Hictor of the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, regarding what is called the Brunswick magnetic anomaly and other magnetic features in the region. They have not been active for a very long time. They are strike slip faults like the San Andreas today, right? And I was talking to a brother that day, he said the earth don't move. I was like, the earth don't move. The earth is constantly moving. Because you don't feel it moving, don't mean it's not moving. And I'm not even talking about just continental shift movement. I'm not even talking about that's part of it too, but what I'm speaking on is vibratory, right? On a vibratory level, everything is moving. Even inanimate objects are literally moving at a vibratory. We're talking about on a quantum level, on a level beyond the physical realm, okay? Which we know exists because our ancestors spoke in these things. This is where most of my reference comes from. My ancestors, not the Europeans. Most of my reference come from the ancestors. They are the masters of this planet. So why are we taking the opinions and the ideas of a new booty, a group of people, a new booty group of people that are just figuring it out they damn self? They don't know. They don't got a clue. Your ancestors know way more than this Western world could ever figure out. Okay, this is why they always resort to what our ancestors. They always resort. They keep us away from that ancient time. They call it primitive, right? They call it savagery, but they know that they're taking the examples of our ancestors. Okay, our ancient ancestors. Okay. So the fault appears to be we'll go down. The fault appears to be the remains of a collision and then messy divorce, of Africa and North America. There was a attempt to rip apart Florida and South Georgia, said Hincher. So you have a false rift there. We know there's a shore there between Africa crust and newer crust from a Appalachians. There is a part of crust that starts in Africa. A rift in what happens with the crust is pulled apart. When that happens 200 million years ago, 50 million years after Africa and North America collided, it appeared to have start near the old collision zone, but then shifted to weaker crust to the east. Mind you, okay, now I want to reiterate what I was saying about how they talk about over 2,000 years. Mind you, let's take this into consideration. The genetic markers that we are referring to, the genetic markers that make up what we call in today the modern day Europeans, the pale skinned ones, right? The genetic markers that make up these people are the mutations. We can actually date these mutations, right? We can literally date. So and another idea in the conscious community that we're refining now is how all the Europeans, right, which are the actually modern day Europeans, because the original Europeans, right, the original people that we're referring to as Europeans were actually Moors, dark-skinned people, right? So this is another qualifier of how these are perspectives. These are two different ways of looking at the world from the perspective of a new group of people who the genetic markers that we're looking at the phenotypical types that we calling today, or the European or the pale skin groups. That genetic marker, the phenotypical type, can be dated, and we date it to no more than 6,000, 10,000 years ago. We can date those genetic markers, right? And now we are entering into a level of science or biological evolutionary science that is very controversial, very debatable, and things of that nature. Or how, and this is speaking to the origins of the original genetics, our genomes, or the original genotypes that all other phenotypes sprouted out of. Right? This is a long-term debate, but to me, a lot of it is so obvious when you're looking at the modern. I mean, because look, we can't get caught up in allowing people who have the resources and the facilities to do these experiments and rely on them because they have the resources and the facilities and they've done the actual field studies, the experiments. We can't take what they say for face value. My suggestion, as this is why nationality is important, because if we can just get that measure of understanding of civilization, then we can move on to governing over our affairs on a greater level, besides us getting out of the subjugation of the colonizers' jurisdictions, that they came over here and created jurisdiction, and we're subjugated to that based on the fact that we are not governing over our own affairs. So as a result, we are subject to those who basically have convinced us to hypothecate our estate, right? And allow them to govern over our affairs. We've allowed this based on our lack of doing it. We have allowed them to do it. So as a result, we have not developed our scientific institutions that are strictly working in the interest of us as a people. So we have to take the opinions of a whole nother society, a whole nother community's scientific apparatus. We have no scientific apparatus. We have little to nothing set up as it pertains to infrastructure. So we don't have the system set up for us to create institutions, scientific institutions, so we can do these experiments. This is what I'm suggesting. So we always read these articles and we always keep open-minded and keep the perspective clear and keep our minds clear on the fact that we have a different perspective than other groups here. Because when our ancestors possibly could have been around, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying possibly because, like I said, this is an open debate. This is open. This is all speculative to the whole world. It's not like even the scientific community who have the resources that they have a grasp on this information. And anytime they do get a grasp on it, they're using it to manipulate. They're using it to take advantage of the rest of humanity. So they're not genuine in their search they're not genuine in this actual search or this reconstruction of the human genome of human history. They're not genuine. They have alternative motives. So it's encompassed upon us. This is why, like I said, reiterate, nationality is the ultimate solution, because we have to be mature enough to work with each other, because integration in someone else's system means we're not going to get our direct interests met. We're going to have to compromise our interests, always being integrated, always being assimilated in someone else's structures in someone else's body politics. So it's encompassed upon us to have our own independent bodies, period. Right? And this only makes sense. It only makes sense to people who are realistic, people who are rational, people who are mature. Okay? So yes, I'm saying we are irrational, we are immature, and we are unreasonable because we have not reached these conclusions yet as a national group here, right? 40 million so-called black people. We basically are literally showing that we don't have the maturity and we don't have the mental fortitude to actually govern over our own affairs. 40 million so-called black people. And what is that saying? We're saying something by not being able to come together, work cohesively. 45 million so-called black people in this country. We're literally saying something to the rest of the world by not being able to come together. What are we saying to the rest of the world by not being able to get along with each other enough to secure ourselves as a group? Right? What are we saying to the world? What are we saying? We saying we are too immature. We're waiting to be victimized again by another group of people who are organized enough, who are mature enough to understand that our common interests supersedes our individual interests. Right? And I'm only coming on here just talking common sense stuff that I believe that I don't have the answer for. I don't think I'm the one. I'm just speaking stuff that only makes sense, being not being influenced by this world and the false ideas of this world, being in denial. Right? That's one of my success stories is the fact that I'm not hurt by the truth. I'm not under the spell as much as others, right? And I'm constantly working on myself to develop myself, to render myself incapable of becoming a slave again, right? I'm rendering myself through my studies, through my self-development mentally and spiritually and emotionally. I'm rendering myself incapable of ever becoming subjugated and being under someone else's authority. Right? Meaning I'm developing myself in character and maturity to the point where I don't need anyone else to govern over any portion of my existence because I have it covered. This is what people will refer to as in this whole understanding of law and finances and monetary and commerce will be referred to as the pure party creditor, right? Or also another term it could be used as propria persona juris, right? Or another concept is executor of the estate, right? This is when you are the master of self. When you master yourself, you become secure party creditor. When you master yourself, you become propria persona juris. When you master yourself, you become the executor of the estate. And all these things are basically the principle of governing over your own affairs, right? And I'm saying that as an individual and as a collective national group of a body of people here. We have to take this on and consider these ideas of law, civilization, because it's based in efficiency, right? It's based in efficiency. Now, people want to know what's the point of nationality. Nationality is a way to organize ourselves in an efficient way that would minimize us going through all of the crap that we're going through at this particular moment, where we're not using our energies efficiently, right? Nationality is a way to consolidate our energies and use it efficiently. Okay? I gotta go. I can't be on here for hours, like I said. I got to get up out of here. I think I did an hour at least. So I don't know. I just wanted to read a little bit about how, because I chose this article today because I was on another website or another stream broadcast, and a lot of brothers are not aware of these factors, right? And I'm just adding to the conversation, adding sources. This is a Fox News source, right? Right. I know how a lot of people feel about Fox News. You feel me? But like I said, I don't take this as face first value. I evaluate what I'm constantly in investigative mode. Constantly in investigative mode. I've never been a religious zealot in a dogmatic person who doesn't question what I even established as truth over the years, right? That I've established as truth, because the truth can always be questioned, right? Because if it's the truth, it's going to always come out as the truth, right? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm constantly in investigative mode. And I don't think a lot of y'all realize what that actually means, to be in constant investigative mode, right? Oh, I'm glad I see the spirit is working. Y'all need to check out this case called Dungy versus Spencer, right? In this case, I'm gonna read a little bit of what was said in the case. It said, and this is a case that was Abraham Lincoln was the lawyer on this case, defending Dungy, right? Dungy, who was considered a Negro, right? Now let's read what he was saying. My client is not a Negro, though it is a crime to be a Negro, right? Period. It's a crime to be a Negro. I can even pull up more evidence that, based on the black codes, based in a lot of old American law, or old United States law. I mean, like I said, I'm using it out of context because I'm so used to the program that this is America, the continent, right? And a lot of the old United States laws, and they still apply today. Black codes still apply, right? If you're referring to yourself as a Negro, black color, in some of those codes, you're considered a criminal, right? No crime to be born with dark skin, though, right? This is his argument he's making to the court right now. By my client, but my client is not a Negro. His skin may not be as white as ours, right? And mind you, right, this is based in, he said his skin may not be as white as ours, right? Meaning this is based in the construct that was going on even back then. Because there are no white-skinned people, there are pale-skinned people. And pale literally means black, or black means pale. So, I mean, the true sense of black is pale. So mind you, these arguments are inferior too. The argument he was making is inferior here. This is an inferior argument because there is no black people, no people with black skin here. There is no people on the planet with white skin, the colored white. No. So this is an inferior argument, right? His skin may not be as white as ours, but I say he is not a Negro, though he may be a Moor, Moore, right? Mr. Lincoln interpreted Judge Davis scarcely about to restrain a smile. You mean a Moor, Moor, not more, Moore. Well, your honor, Moore, not C.H. Moore replied, not C.H. Moore replied, Mr. Lincoln, with a swift of his large arm towards the table, were Moors and I sit. Where Moors and I sat. I am okay. I say my client may be a Moor, but he is not a Negro, right? And he actually won this case. He literally actually won this case where he was arguing that a brother was not a Negro, he was a Moor. Okay? He actually won this case. Y'all need to go look this case up for real. He literally won that case. Okay? So, and this is, oh, look, check this out. That's why this is one that I want to kill y'all on too. Those who try to say the feds it belongs to the Shriners. A lot of people say it belongs to the Shriners, right? And a lot of people say it's the Turkish feds and it belongs to the modern day Morocco, where what we looking at as Morocco over there is not the ancient Morocco, okay? Okay? So let's read this right here. Fez. Capital of Morocco. This is actually literally a place called Fez, the capital of Morocco, where they were made a cap or headdress or clothes fitting closely to the head with a tassel of silk or wool at the crown. Much worn in Muslim countries, and as the emblem, look at the insignia, right? At the insignia of the insignia. Now, y'all got to pay attention to this word insignia, right? The insignia of the Shriners, the core of the central part of the turban, right? The insignia of the Shriners. For those who try to say this fez belong to the Shriners, I'm about to prove that wrong right now, because it's the insignia of the Shriner, right? Insignia. Now let's pay attention to insignia, right? Okay, now let's go here. No, not there. Is that it? No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Let's go here. Watch. I'm about to show y'all right now. Watch. Okay, not that. Let's go. It's here. It's here somewhere. I know. Oh my God. This is another thing I'm gonna hit y'all with too in a minute. So I gotta get up out of here. So I just want to look up what insignia is. I had it already put it on here and I don't know what the hell. Let's see. Insignia. Where's it at, man? Damn. I can't even make my point. I'm sorry. I'm going to be a lot more organized in my future broadcasts, where I'm going to all have everything organized in their specific folders and everything when I'm doing these presentations. So just bear with me, y'all. I'm going to get to it in a minute right now. Color offer, we got to read that too. That's a good one. Where is it at? I got so much stuff, man. I got so much stuff. It's crazy. Oh my God, look at this here. Oh my God. Y'all don't even understand. Y'all don't even understand the level of crap that's been pulled off on the people. Oh, here it is. Insignia, right? Decorations, badge of honor, right? Badge of honor of insignia, distinguished by a mark, striking, imminent in a signia. Okay, badge of distinguishing mark of officer of honor as they insignia of an order of the knighthood. Right now, if you understand knighthood, right, you understand that all knights were knighted by someone of royalty, right? All royalty is based in the blood, right? Marked signs and visible impressions on which something is known are distinguished, right? So these badges of honors were given to the Shriners, right? And like I said, they were knighted based on the fact that someone of royalty knighted them, right? Now, when you understand how royalty works, royalty is based in bloodlines, right? Now, from my minimal research of all the royal bloodlines across the globe, meaning the Emperor of Japan the Emperor of either Japan or China, and to the royalty in China, to the royalty in Europe, guess what? It's all connected to the Moorish family. So in order for them to be royalty, they had to have Moorish blood, right? So you're looking at today, in modern day time, you're looking at the results of the ruling classes of Moors who designated or delegated or what was the word what's another word, right? Because mostly all of those ancient countries were under the Moorish Empire, is what I'm trying to tell you. All of those ancient countries were under the Moorish Empire, right? From Britain to France to Spain, Roman state, all that was extensions of a continuous Moorish presence or a Moorish rulership over the planet, right? Because prior to colonization, we got to understand when you're looking at it from the Europeans' narrow perspective of the history of this planet, you don't realize that there is evidence all over the planet that there was a global community here in ancient times. There was a global community, and evidence of this global community is there are pyramids all over the planet, which shows a cultural continuity, right? This science, even though, and people get twisted, like the Sarasut and Seti argument of, oh, the most perfected pyramids were in Egypt, right? And because you are looking at it from the European perspective, because that wasn't the point of pyramids. to make perfect pyramids, right? That wasn't the point. And to dwell on the ingenuity of one group of people doing pyramids comparing to another group of people doing pyramids and their scientific approach, right? That's not the point of pyramids. The point of pyramids is to manage the electric magnetic, or even beyond the electric magnetic field of our grids, but the etherical grids, the what's it called, the auric field, right? The auric grid, right? Meaning these higher vibrational grids. Remember, I was going into the vibratory condition and status of the planet in different times and periods of time, the different positioning of the cosmos, or the processions of this ball of mass of energy that we're, because people want to say it's a globe or a flat. I'm not saying it's either or. I'm saying it's both. But what I mind you, what I'm giving you is a deeper perspective of ancient history, right? From an indigenous, aboriginal, autochthonous perspective. But I got to get out of here, though. Peace, y'all. Hope y'all got something from this one. And like I said, happy Gregorian 2020, Gregorian calendar 2020. All right. So peace out. I'm about to be out of here, y'all. I got to get ready to get out of here and go handle some bees and wax. Some beeswax. Ooh, this is something else I wanted to show. The Earl count, right? This is a picture of the nobles in Europe, and not Europe, in England. These are the different crowned noble, and guess what? My middle name is Earl, right? And Earl literally means noble. A noble title. It's a noble title. So I already had my noble title before I had my Ellen Bay. Before I had my Ellen Bay, I already had a noble title. So I want to end it on that. I'm out of here, y'all. Get out of here, but I can't find. Listen, where we go here? I'm out. Peace, y'all.